Hello everyone, I hope you're doing extremely well. So this video is to touch on the new framework that Mr. Lee Hsien Loong, our Prime Minister Lee, have actually shared with us during his National Day rally speech. So this new framework that HDB plans to roll out will be in the second half of 2024. And even though with a lot of information shared here and there, honestly, I think that a lot of us are still a bit clueless of what this new framework is and how would it impact them, or rather, how does it work, okay? So this video will touch on this new framework. And because there are a lot of information in this video, I decided to break it down into 3 parts, okay? First off, it will be why the need of this new framework. Secondly, it will be how does this new framework work? And lastly, it will be the how would it impact homeowners in the future. And of course, before I end the video, I'll also give my personal logical assumptions on how would it affect the property market in the future. And of course, just my 2 cents worth of thoughts. So just take it with a pinch of salt, okay? So since early 90s, HDB uses mature and non-mature estate, this framework, right, to help guide residents in buying flats in Singapore. So flats in the mature estate, you will see it to be more connected, more centralized, and of course more amenities lah. So for the non-mature estates, lesser of these 3 things. Okay. So here comes the question: why the framework of mature and non-mature estate doesn't work into this context? If you compare Jurong East back then and Punggol, okay, these 2 towns, right, they are non-mature estates. If you compare them back then and now, you will realize that wow, it's really more developed now, and it is the connectivity also kind of improved already. So over the years, right, I think things improve. And why would Jurong East and Punggol not become a mature estates when they have well developed and so many more amenities? So they need to come up with a new framework lah. And on top of that, they also they hope to achieve these 3 objectives. Okay, government hopes to achieve these 3 objectives, and it will be to ensure that home ownership is still affordable. Okay, because right now we all know that like housing very expensive. Okay, so this is something that they want to tackle. Next would be to maintain good social mix in Singapore, in all towns. And what I can assume from this is that they actually want to balance out all the income earners. Okay, because we know that only high income earners, they can afford higher flats, higher price flats, and lower income earners only can afford the flats that are in general more affordable lah, and usually they are away from the central area. So they want to create more fairness in terms of those lower income earners also can afford to get flats in good locations. Okay, so lastly, it will be keeping the system fair. I think this keeping the system fair is to minimize the lottery effect. I may be right, I may be wrong, I don't know, but this is basically based on my assumptions. Okay, so let's move on. We all know that when it comes to housing, right, it is location, location, location. Generally, it's all about location. There are 2 examples I want to give, and it will be the Central Reef in Ang Mo Kio, and of course the next one would be Bukit Merah Ridge. They are located in good locations. That's why the application rates is almost through the roof. Okay, let's take Central Reef for example. The 5-room to the 3-gem flats, right, is ranging from how much? 713k to 877k. So if you think about it, right, wow, the 5-room already 700 over k. Then let's do a bit of math. Okay, let's say the second floor is 713. Let's say you stay in the mid floor. Okay, on the mid floor, I give you 750k for example. Okay, so how much do you need to earn in order to pay for this 750k? Okay, so let's work out a quick sum. 20% down payment. Okay, this has to be cash and CPF. That will be how much? 150k. Okay, so you need to have 150k. You and your spouse are 150k in your cash or CPF, to make the down payment. Rest of them is the 80%. 80% will be LTV, HDB loan. So with that loan, right, if you want to purchase this 750k flat, right, with the loan, you need to earn at least 9k. Okay, on top of that, the monthly installment is how much? 2007. So 2007, let's say my spouse and I, we buy, then we split by 2, is how much? $1,350. So this is the amount that we'll be looking at in order to own the 750k 5-room flat in Ang Mo Kio with. I'm just stating an example. Okay, so for the Bukit Merah Ridge, right, the 4-room starting from 540k to how much? 737k. I think the 737k is the top floor lah, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so you'll be thinking that wow, siao eh, who will actually buy this? Let me just share with you. The number of applicants, right, for the Ang Mo Kio Central Reef, right, is up to 6,500 applicants eyeing on 372 flats. So for every unit, there's 70 people eyeing on it. Then you'll be thinking that, wow, siao, it's so expensive, who will buy? It actually attracted 6,500 applicants. So you go and think about it. So is location important? I'll leave it to you, okay? So if you look at this in the bigger picture, right, we all know that if you stay in a good location, you tend to can sell higher. And when you can sell higher, the lottery effect will be higher because you might have purchased it at a lower price, okay? So if HDB prices is so high, everyone cannot buy, everyone complain so high, then if you make it low, the lottery effect will be higher. People will even cash out even more money. They can make use of HDB to invest or rather to get more profit out of it, right? So that's the lottery effect. So if you think about it, like, wow, left also cannot, right also cannot. So if you are in HDB shoes, right, what will you do? Okay. Of course, this is a question by PM Lee. I thought it kind of makes sense. Okay, so they need to come up with a new framework, and of course to tackle these three objectives, which I shared with you just now. Okay, so let's zoom into this type of flats. Okay, firstly we have the standard flat. Second we have the plus flat. Thirdly we have the prime flats. Let's zoom into each type of these flats, shall we? Okay, so let's start off with the standard type. So the standard type will be your standard flats, your standard BTO flats with 5-year MOP. After that, when you sell, you can sell to anyone. So SPR after 3 years on and after, they can also purchase. So same, no change. Where can you find all these standard flats? It'll be all around Singapore. Okay, so this is a standard flat. Let's move on to the plus type, which is newly introduced. So future buyers of such flats, right, can foresee themselves to be in choicier location. When the term used is choicier, what I mean is that places that people will really want to consider staying. So let me give you an example, Bayshore. If you have been to Bayshore before, or rather East Coast, right, if you stay high enough, right, you can literally see East Coast Park. That is why some of the Marine Parade flats, right, is so expensive, especially at Point Block, is because you can have good views and it makes sense. Okay, and of course Marine Parade got a lot of good food also. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so for these plus flats, other than a 10-year MOP, you need to stay after 10 years, then you can sell. The next thing is that there's this thing called the subsidy recovery. So a lot of people don't understand, hey, what is this subsidy recovery? This subsidy recovery is in the form of a percentage, okay, of the sale price. You have to give back to HDB. So let's say I sell my flat for 1 million. Okay, so a certain percentage of this 1 million will need to go to HDB, not in your pocket. What is the percentage of these plus type flats? We don't know, but it was mentioned that it will be lesser than the prime type flats, which is of 6%. Prime is 6%, which is also known as the prime location housing. What's the percentage of the subsidy recovery for plus? We don't know, but I will assume that maybe it will start from 2, then it will climb to 3, climb to 4 and 5 depending on the market trend. So don't quote me, I don't know, this is just based on my logical assumptions, okay? As of now, we don't know what's the percentage. Okay, so let's move on. So when you sell these plus type flats, right, there are some strict sale conditions that you need to meet. There's this income ceiling applicable to your buyer. So in other words, you cannot sell to anyone, only these people that meet the BTO, some of the BTO criteria, right, then they can buy from you. So it is as good as the resale flat buyers, right, are buying your flat based on the BTO eligibility conditions. And what do I foresee from this is that SPR, you can forget about it already, because SPR cannot buy new flats. And the next thing is that if you want to buy such flats, right, you need to grab hold of a Singaporean, because new flats you need to have at least one Singapore citizen. That will mean that the Singapore citizen will drive in demand. The demand for Singapore citizens will increase. Okay, so that's just a joke. Okay, so lastly we have the prime type of flats. So this prime type of flats, I believe it is named after the prime location housing. So for the prime location housing, we all know that it's a 10-year MOP. Okay, then we have a 6% subsidy recovery. So 6%, how much is it? Sell for 1 million will be 60k. Sell for 500k will be 30k. So this amount of money will be returned to HDB, not in your pocket, not to anyone else, and it will be to HDB. Addition to that, it has the most strict sale condition. And what do I mean by this? The person that's buying over your flat, right? So it's as good as buying a new BTO flat. And we all know that one of the conditions is that any of the buyers cannot have any interest in private property for the last 30 months. And what do I mean by this is that, let's say your parents put your name in one of the condo. So in order for you to buy such flats in the future, your parents have to take out your name 2.5 years before you purchase such flats. So your parents must time already. So that will mean that your parents will need to think about the ABSD versus you in 2.5 years later. So zooming out in the bigger picture, I do believe that this new framework, right, would help the government and HDB to achieve the three objectives that they wish to achieve. Okay, and analysis also believe that with this new framework, it might actually slow down $1 million flats. This one we will see for itself, because I do have another opinion regarding this framework. I will keep it to the end of the video later. Okay, with this new framework, right, it will benefit some and it will not benefit some. So how would it impact flat owners in the future? Okay, so I believe that future buyers that have been longing to live in a more centralized area, now you got more chance, but of course with a stricter sale condition, and provided that you can get a ballot okay, you can ballot for one. So for single buyers, right, wow, all of y'all should rejoice. Finally y'all can own a flat, a 2-room flat in a central area, because back then, right, no one under the single scheme can buy flats in the mature estates. Okay, back then it's still the mature estate and non-mature estates. So right now, right, singles can get anywhere, so long as it's a 2-room, anywhere they want. Okay, so for joint single schemes, I try to read again and I read again. There are no information about it. Maybe they'll release in the future for the joint single scheme, so I can't be too sure on that. With the new restrictive sale conditions, right, I do believe that the plus and the prime flats that's located in a very, very good location, right, will be made affordable to the future residents in the future. And that brings me to maybe the downside, this part whereby it will not benefit for some. Okay, so with this very restrictive sale conditions, it's very, very hard to get the lottery effect anymore because of the subsidy recovery. You think about it, let's say if I want to sell higher to offset this subsidy recovery, because it's in a percentage tier, a percentage kind of form. Let's say I want to sell 1 million, 60k I need to return to HDB. Okay, I want to sell higher, then I put this 60k into my sale. That will be selling 1 million and 60k. Then again, you'll be thinking, then if you look at the bigger picture, it will be 6% of this 1 million and 60k. Then you'll be returning more money to HDB. So in order to not let this happen, you will sell lower. And if you sell too low, this percentage might eat into the amount that you need to return back to your CPF. And of course, you might kind of see negative sale. So this thing might happen. I don't know whether it will happen. Hopefully it will not happen. So we will see to it Definitely it will minimize the lottery effect. And analysis also say already. So I do believe on that. Okay. So another thing is that you need to weigh out these three things: opportunity, cost, and time. I'm gonna give you a quick example. Let's say my spouse and I today, we are 27. Okay, we want to go for this prime flat, maybe just beside Duxton. Okay, I love Duxton. Let's say just beside Duxton. Okay, I will give you 5 years to build finish. We are both 27. 5 years already will be 32. Okay, then after that we observe a 10-year MOP. Let's say after that, my wife and I, we want to stay closer to our parents. Okay, because we want them to check out our kids, so we need to sell. But then that, 10 years later, then we can sell. Okay, so that will mean that any step that we want to make, right, it will be 10 years later. Be it whether we want to move closer to our parents, we want to move closer to a 1 km school, or whatsoever. Maybe there's this new launch that we really, really like, or rather this resale condo that we really, really like, but we can't buy. We have to observe that 10-year MOP. Versus a standardized flat that has 5-year MOP. After stay 5 years already, I can make whatever plans I want. So if you think about it, right, 5 years I can actually make a lot of difference in terms of the property price, in terms of the opportunity, and also the time. So this is something that you need to weigh things out with this new framework. Okay, so the next thing is that, will this new framework drive up demands for properties that do not have such strict sale conditions? I'm talking about the older HDBs, the older, larger HDBs, okay, and also private properties. Okay, we all know the private properties are SSD. Let's put that aside first. Okay, so will this actually drive demand for these properties that have less strict sale conditions because it's easier for you to make your next move? Okay, so this is something for you all to think about. Personally, I do feel that demand will increase, especially for the private side. Okay, I don't know, just based on my assumptions. Okay, so we have come to the end of the video. I'm sorry that this video is very lengthy, and honestly there are a lot more information I want to share, but this will become like a 1 or 2 hour movie already. Okay, so most importantly, I want to hear from you is that how would this new framework benefit you? Will it benefit you, or who will benefit from this new framework the most? And next, will this new framework drive a demand in other types of property, and what will happen to the property price in the future, especially after all these people MOP 10 years later? I want to hear the answers from you, your opinions of course, and leave them in the comment section. If not, I will see you in the next video.